So now also with being the chairperson, the national chairperson of NAMA, there are also certain pressures placed on NAMA as well by things like the Property Practitioners Act and these type of things regarding transformation. I've seen it with the community scheme ombud service as well, where transformation is certainly a priority as it should be. How do you see the role of Black women in the community scheme environment, and particularly when it comes to management positions?
Yeah, look, I think first it's important to note that economic transformation needs to be driven more by women. I think by their nature, women are leaders and should therefore lead economic transformation in South Africa and also in the sectional title industry. I think Black women in particular have an important role in the community scheme environment. But I think in order to retain Black women in community scheme in this environment, investment in skills development and career development is necessary. And I think that there needs to be more focus on particularly the career development, because I think we also need to understand that community management is not just a job, it is actually a career. It's actually a career. It's a bit of an echo here. It definitely is a career, and that is where we need to get women to focus on it. There's opportunities, there's great opportunities in property management, but there needs to be the skills development and certainly the career development as well. And I think this is where NAMA plays a pivotal role, in that we have now partnered with the University, Enterprises University of Pretoria, where we will be rolling out a community scheme course. And we want people, and especially school leavers as well, to understand that there is a career path, not just to become an attorney or an architect or whatever, any other profession there is. A community scheme property management is in fact a career path that can be followed.
For sure. Well, we've always said that, and it just needs to be, kept at that professional kind of level so that it attracts the right people as well. What about yourself in terms of discrimination? Have you ever experienced discrimination in your workplace at all?
Yes, I think being treated less competent as a result of my gender is something sadly that I think a lot of us do experience. But personally, I think it is more that most women have not been brought up to believe that they can do anything, that we are capable of doing absolutely everything. And often, sadly, I think women are their own worst enemies in that regard. We need to stand up for our principles and what we believe in. And sadly, discrimination based on your gender does exist, and it still exists today. But we need to be strong in that regard and stand up against it.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's also, when you're in that kind of environment, and maybe I'm speaking from a more management role, and that's not fair, but I think there's got to be that kind of also perception from yourself that you put boundaries in place and that you you teach other people how to treat you at the end of the day.
Exactly.
If it's a look or if it's body language or whatever it is, just to put boundaries in place. But I acknowledge that that's easier said than done if you're not in a position of power. That's difficult. With your being the chairperson of NAMA as well, there's obviously a vision for the organization going forward. And I know for a fact, because I've been working with NAMA also for a long time, that things have really, really taken off at NAMA. There's so much more to NAMA than when I first started out 23 years ago. And tell us your vision for NAMA.
Yeah, look, it's exciting to see the change happening in NAMA. Well, at the moment, NAMA is in the process of registering as a professional body. And we're hoping to finalize this registration by the end of this current financial or this year, 2020. And I believe that this will give NAMA more teeth to be able to argue the rights of the profession at a government level. And also the registration as a professional body will assist NAMA in registering as a professional designation for the purpose of the National Qualification Framework. And I briefly alluded to the Enterprises University course that we will be rolling out. And obviously what we want to aim with this is to get the subqualification for our courses.
Yeah, that's going to be really fantastic. I think that's a huge step in the right direction. And of course, NAMA's also got a good relationship with the Community Scheme Ombud Service, as I understand it.
Yes,
And you're working
yes.
towards things with them as well. Is there any latest development we should know about with the Community Scheme Ombud, or is there anything that you're particularly talking to them about at the moment?
Yeah, we actually had a meeting. We had a meeting with them about a week ago, but time flies. It could have been 2 weeks. And I must tell you that it's absolutely amazing to deal with Ndiva Rabuli, who's the acting chairperson, or the acting ombud rather. She's got such a good understanding, and she listens. When we talk about difficulties experienced by the property managers filing the rules, or getting responses from the CSAS office, she listens to what we have to say, and she acts upon it. And we've given them some direction relevant to directives that we believe that they need to issue. And also what we said to them in the last meeting is there needs to be clarity. A lot of people are still confused when they file a complaint with CSAS. Once a ruling has been handed down, people need to understand clearly what are the processes that needs to be followed to get an enforcement order when a party doesn't comply with that order. So I'm looking forward to them sending out a communication relevant to that, amongst other, setting it out in plain language to the layperson out there so that they can understand the processes that need to be followed. And also, obviously, the frustration phoning the CSAS and you're not getting a response. The phones are not being answered. It's a frustration that we're all experiencing at the moment. And they're rolling out a call center throughout to deal with that. And also the dealing with the actual disputes that are filed with CSAS, that the time frames that are set by them, that they comply with it. So yeah, the interaction with them is amazing. They listen to us, and they certainly do act upon the recommendations that we put forward to them.
I think it's got to be collaborative, and I think that's really what has happened with the Community Scheme Ombud Service. There definitely is always an open door policy, certainly in my experience, where you can go and talk and discuss things, and I think that openness and that kind of transparency is great going forward. So yeah, I wish you well with that, and I think it needs to continue. So Women in Sectional Title, we've started this initiative. Chantel, I know you're aware of it, and I think it's been an important initiative because we do have thousands of women in every capacity in the sectional title field. Not only people who work in admin departments, in managing agencies, even our conveyancing secretaries, I know, have been interested in this initiative with WiST and developers and people like that. So how do you feel that we can contribute? Where do you think we fit in? And have you got any kind of sort of practical suggestions for us going forward?
Yeah, Marina, I think this platform is absolutely amazing that you've started. And I think the big thing with Women in Sectional Title is that we need to instill confidence in women and provide them support in terms of education in particular, and also access to the profession. I think a lot of people are not aware of community scheme property management, and we need platforms like this to bring it to the attention of the people out there. And I actually wish that even more can be done to get this to the attention of our students, people at universities, the scholars at school, so that they understand that there is a career path that can be followed in community scheme property management, which is an absolutely booming industry. I mean, we've seen it right through COVID. While the economy certainly did take a dip, and you could have seen that in the conveyancing side of things, the management of these community schemes, it didn't cease to exist. It continued right throughout. So there's a lot of opportunities in this community scheme property management and sectional title in particular.
I think you're 100% right, and I think it starts at school level actually. And if I look back at my schooling, I mean, we used to go to guidance, which wasn't really such great guidance, to be honest. And I remember particularly at one stage, somebody came through and she was a journalist, and she spoke to our class. And she looked so weary and tired, and it's almost like she was discouraging all of us to, from becoming journalists. And that has stayed with me until today. And in fact, who knows? If I had chosen another career, I might very well have become a journalist because that writing interests me and that kind of thing. So it just shows you what an impact somebody has who can go into the schools and discuss things like that. And maybe that's something that we'll look at doing, but to motivate people, not to discourage them. I think that would be
definitely. No. Look,
yeah.
I think we need to just say that this is not an easy industry. We all know that. It's not an easy industry. You're dealing with people, you're dealing with their property. It becomes emotional at times. But it's still a very rewarding industry. And if you have the passion for people, you have the passion for property and for service delivery, this is actually the industry to go into. Because it's rewarding. It's nice to see, it's nice to even get the emails that says, thank you. Thank you for assisting me, even if it's sorting out a municipal account or getting my roof leak sorted, or assisting us in clearing up the confusion between the owners and the trustees in the community scheme. So yeah, the boundaries are endless.
I agree. And